are packed up. The pod is hitched up behind us. Blue's already asleep in the back seat. And we're heading up north to Canyon Point Campground. That's up on the Mogollon Rim here in Arizona. And this is our first time there, so we're going to explore around. It should be really nice and cool up there. We're hoping for that. Right now it's 100 degrees here, but it's been up in 115, 110, 115 degrees every day, July and August, so we're kind of tired of that. So we're gonna go up to the cool pines and relax and do some exploring. We'll show you what we find. We're driving on US 260, headed east. We've passed through Payson and Star Valley, past Christopher Creek, where there is a lot of camping, but mostly tent camping there at Christopher Creek. And now we're climbing up to the Mogollon Rim, kind of like a little bit of ascending the roller coaster, but there's no drop off. On the right-hand side of the vehicle, you can see the most beautiful view you've ever seen. You can probably see, I don't know, for 200 miles maybe, but I'll show you that later in the video. Right now, we have to keep our eyes on the road because here we go, up to the top of the rim. We'll be about at 7,500 feet here once we get up to the top. It's a beautiful drive, and even more beautiful scenery awaits us. After we arrive at the top of the Mogollon Rim, it's about a 5 to 6 mile drive to the campground. We turn right and pull into Canyon Point Campground. We stop at the booth to get our map, check in, and get the lay of the campground. It is a pretty large campground. We head on into the campground, and on the left is the dump station and the freshwater fill. We stop here and get in line to wait our turn. It's pretty busy at the dump station and the freshwater fill because fresh water here is free, even to non-campers. You can come in and fill up your tanks and go boondock or go to another campground or whatever you're going to do that day. Here I go again, leaving paperwork on the dashboard. You think I would have learned that lesson from when we were camping at Rockhound State Park in New Mexico, but no. Sorry about that. It kind of obstructs the view. Anyway, we're going to fill up our tank because we are camping in a dry campsite. We're leaving the dump station area and the water fill area, and we're going to make a left onto the main road of the campground. Over to the right is the hosts area. They have, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 hosts. It is a large campground. They have 100 campsites and I think about 7 bathrooms to take care of. So they do have quite a few hosts. On the right, also, we're going to pass the entrance and the exit to Loop A. We'll come back later this evening to show you some of the campsites on Loop A. But right now, we just really want to get to our site and set up and relax. Over here on the left are the dumpsters. This is the only place in the campground where they have dumpsters. So if you need to dump your trash, you have to walk, bike, or drive your trash up to the front of the campground and deposit it here. Also, over on the left, there's a parking lot and a building, and in the building are the showers and restrooms. We'll take a look at those later in the video. Right now, we're going to keep driving down the main road till we get to the intersection for Loop B. You can see off to our left is the exit of Loop B, so we're going to bear to the right and go down to our campsite. We stayed at site number 71, and it is all the way at the end of the campground. I think it's the furthest site from the entrance. Here's our site. Time to get out and check out how it's laid out and back in and unhitch and set up. Here we go.
Yep, there's a squirrel over there. The big bushy white tail. And Blue is not happy about it. There's Blue. He's on guard, watching those squirrels.
Quick chicken salad for dinner after a travel day.
It's morning at Canyon Point Campground, up on the Mogollon Rim in the Sitgreaves Forest in Arizona, and this is our campsite. This is our first morning, and it's just super beautiful here. This is site 71. It's in Loop B, and it's like the most secluded site at the bottom of the loop. There's a fence here separating the campground from the rest of the national forest, but there's a little gate over there that you can walk through, and maybe I'll explore that later. I'm not sure. Don't think there's any hiking trails over there, but there might be something to look at. So there's Blue. He ate breakfast, had his morning walk, and he's just relaxing at the campsite. We've got a picnic table and a fire pit. Right now it's the last week of August, and there are no fire restrictions. But look at this beautiful campground. It's a beautiful site. There's a site right there that's not occupied right now. There's a site across the road from us and down the road, and another one over to that side that's not occupied right now. Of course, it is Monday morning, and since it is late August, almost all the school districts have started classes again, so that kind of cuts down on the crowds that might be here. But this coming weekend is Labor Day, so we'll be gone before then, but I'm expecting every site to be filled for Labor Day weekend. I was very pleased with the site and with the campground the minute we came in. The staff is so friendly. There are several hosts that maintain the campground. It's a huge campground. There's about 100 sites, and I think I counted 7 restrooms plus the 8 showers, 4 men's, 4 women's that are up front. It's just super nice here. We just set, when we first got here, we unhitched and leveled and just set, and actually we didn't really have to do any leveling. The site is super level. And set up a little bit, then we got our chairs out and just relaxed and enjoyed the forest. There's a lot of wildlife here in this area too. We've seen so many different kinds of birds. I think we might have seen a bald eagle yesterday fly over, but he was so fast I couldn't get the camera, and I really couldn't get a good look at him either. But we've seen ravens and little scrub jays and a blue jay, and they have really large squirrels here too with big fluffy tails, and some chipmunks. I'll try and get some video of those guys a little bit later as I see them, but it's just a really beautiful campground. I am so glad we were able to get a space. You have to reserve on recreation.gov and it's really difficult to get spaces up here. But this was a great blessing, and we're here for 4 nights. So we're going to explore the area a little bit and give you guys a view of all this campground has to offer.
This morning, we left the campground and headed west on US 260 to visit Willow Springs Lake. The lake is about 3 or 4 miles west of Canyon Point Campground. And as you're driving along, the sign will be on the left-hand side of the road. So it's kind of easy to miss the turnoff if you're not using your GPS. So just watch for the sign on the left-hand side and then make a right onto Forest Road 149. There is a campground here at Willow Springs Lake. It's called Sinkhole Campground, and the entrance is coming up here on our left. This is a small little campground. The spaces are kind of tiny. It is totally dry camping. They do have potable water in a somewhat large container, but definitely would not be enough to fill up an RV. So here's the entrance to Sinkhole Campground. But we're not going to stop in there right now. We're going to head down to see the lake. So just remember, if you want to camp at Sinkhole, you'll have to have a power source and water already in your RV. So let's turn into the lake and see what's happening. Here on the right was a little loop that had parking for the day use area. This area wasn't for boaters, but you could picnic or fish from here. I guess they did have restrooms, and it looked like they had some trails and some picnic areas in this part. So this would be away from the boat launching area where you could have a quiet picnic. It looked really, really pretty, really nice area to come and enjoy the forest and the lake. We're going to get back onto Forest Road 149 and head down to the boat launch area of the lake. It's just a little bit of a drive down the road. You can see here on our GPS how the lake looks. It's a fairly large lake, and you'll see up here, it's just beautiful. It was full, which is always a surprise in Arizona, a welcome surprise that our lakes are full. And this is the parking lot right here, where they have restrooms, of pretty large parking lot. They have spaces for your trailer. When you drop your boat off at the dock, you can pull into a large space with your boat trailer. Very, very beautiful lake here. Let's get out and take a look around the shoreline.
Okay. Blue's on another adventure. We parked at Willow Springs, and we're just gonna take a little walk around and get close to the water and see how things look here. It is.
Take a picture of it.
Yep.
Pretty big.
It is.
Pretty cool.
It is. Looks very full. Look at it. Goes all the way that way. It's very full. What a beautiful day to enjoy the lake. Let's go down by the water, Blue, and I want to see what the temperature of the water is. Let's see. What's a good way to get down here? Over here. Come on, Blue. Let's go down this way. Let's go down this way. sandy, sandy, and I just washed your paws this morning. Okay. Let's see what the water feels like. What do you think? Oh, it's warm right here. It's warm in the shallow area. It's just beautiful here. Blue's enjoying it.
We left Willow Springs and headed east on US 260 for about a mile. Then we turned off on Forest Road 300. We wanted to stop at the Rim Lake's Vista Point, and here is the beautiful sight that awaited us. I think the view from this point rivals that of the south rim of the Grand Canyon. Anyway, it's a little different because you're seeing the beautiful lush green forests and mountains of the Sitgreaves Forest, the Coconino Forest, and the Tonto Forest. You can view 3 forests from this one point. It's just so beautiful. This was the view I was telling you about as we were driving up. But right now, we don't have to keep our eyes on the road. We can enjoy this beautiful scene. We're going to walk down a little bit closer and stand right on the edge of the rim and look out. I'm pretty sure from here you can see about 200 miles. You can see the mountains in the distance, and you can see US 260 below us as it winds its way back through Christopher Creek and onto Payson. What an amazing wonder the Mogollon Rim is. I can't imagine anything more beautiful. And right there, I just pointed out 4 peaks. That's a mountain in the northeast area of the Phoenix area. So we can see from here where we began our journey up north. It's just amazing. I just couldn't get enough of this beautiful sight. I could have sat there for maybe an hour or two and just watched. But we forgot to bring our binoculars, which was a little bit of a bummer. It would have been nice to zoom in on some of the bare green patches in the forest and see what was going on there in those meadows. But there it is. There are some camping spots along Forest Road 300 here, along the edge of the rim. Um, Mostly tent camping, I would say. I don't know if I drag our camper along Forest Road 300. It is a pretty primitive dirt road that runs really close to the edge of the rim. A lot of switchbacks and twists and turns, but right here is an amazing view. What a blessing to see how beautiful this forest is. All the different layers of rock piled up here on the rim. And some trees with their exposed roots, but they're still growing tall. Definitely recommend this stop if you come up to either Woods Canyon Lake, Willow Springs, or Canyon Point. Just a beautiful, beautiful sight. A must see. I'm going to climb up just a little bit higher and take one last. Okay, I guess it's just about time to head back to the campground and have some dinner. The site is just so amazing. And yes, there is a trail that runs along the edge of the rim here. This is part of a hiking trail. When we got back to camp, somebody had to take a nap while Old Man and I fixed some delicious hamburgers for supper.
It's afternoon in the forest. We had a nice rainstorm earlier this afternoon, and now it's drying up a little bit. I think it's time to go hide some painted rocks. Let's see what we have today. Here's our selection. We've got a Ninja Turtle. We've got a Be Happy. We've got some little like raindrops. And we've got two beautiful hearts. Let's go see if we can find a good place in the forest to hide these. Somebody will eventually come by here, right in this little spot. And we're gonna hide the Be Happy one right here. We're gonna tuck it under the log against this bigger rock. I think that's a really cute place for it. That's a cool old stump. Oh, and there's that gate. The forest is so quiet right now. So you can hear the plane going overhead. Somebody's burrow. Okay, I think this stump is going to be a great place for the Ninja Turtle. I hope some kid comes along and finds him sitting there. I think that's Michelangelo with the orange, right? Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's Michelangelo. My fingers are in the way. Sorry for my poor videoing. This would be a great space to hide this guy right here. This is my double heart, and on the back it says 2 hearts beat as one. And I think this is a really cool place to nestle that. We're gonna nestle that right in there. And I hope somebody will find it and it'll speak to their heart and their life. So this is on the other side of the fence from the campground. There's the gate we came through way down there. And we're gonna go out this gate over here. Come on, Blue. Blue's exploring with me here today. He's taking his little late afternoon walk before dinner time. I thought there might have been some kind of hiking trail back here, but I don't see anything at all. Just the dense forest and a lot of rocks. Big boulders, rock outcroppings. Very rocky. But we are up on the Mogollon Rim, so I guess that's what I should expect. Oh, there's multiple gates all along. Look at that big outcropping of rock right there. Okay, let's go through this gate and see. Head back into the campground. It's almost time to cook dinner. Come on, Blue. Follow me. We're gonna go back through the little gate. And then we're back in the campground. And there's one of the sites up there with the picnic tables. So let's head over this way. Come out at this campsite and we'll take the camp road back. We're not that far. There's our pod over there. We didn't go very far at all.
Let's take a quick drive around Loop A at Canyon Point Campground. Loop A has, I think, about 35 to 40 sites, and they are all electric. No water, no sewer, but they do have electric. And I think these campsites are a little more closer together, so you're a little bit closer to your neighbor than on Loop B. And the electric is a big draw, obviously, for campers because almost every site on Loop A was occupied when we were there. It is nicely forested, a lot of shade. So if you have solar, that could be an issue. You might want to investigate and find out which is the sunny spot, the sunniest site. But they do have pull-throughs and they have back ends. Some of the sites are large, some are fairly tiny. So you want to, when you make your reservations, check the length of the driveway. Because there were a few sites where we didn't think we could fit our 19-foot R-Pod. But it is a pretty loop, and they do have restrooms, vault toilets here on the loop. The thing I like on a loop is to get a space on the outer edge of the loop so that the campsite of our camper is facing the forest or whatever else. I don't want to be on the inner side of the loop where my campsite of my camper is facing the road. So I prefer the outer edges of the loop. And of course, I always like to get the most secluded spot where I have room to walk blue in the morning and not bother any of the other campers. But Loop A was very nice. Again, very busy. Almost every site was filled. But if you need electric, this is where you'd want to book a site. Another thing about Loop A is that it is at the front of the campground. So you're closer to the dumpsters, closer to the showers, closer to the dump station, the freshwater fill, and the exit and entrance of the campground. So Loop A is very convenient, but for me personally, I like the seclusion of Loop B. We're going to make a right and take a quick drive around Loop B. Loop B has about 60 sites, and they do have vault toilets throughout the loop. They have campsites on both sides of the loop, the inner and the outer. Again, my preference is always to get a site on the outer side of the loop so that my campsite of my camper is facing nature rather than the roadway. And also, if you get a site on the outside of the loop, you have access to the forest beyond the campground through those little gates that Blue and I took our walk through earlier. So that's a plus. You can go and explore and see what's on in the national forest over there. I don't think there are any hiking trails over there. At least there weren't any on Google Maps, but still fun to explore. The sites on Loop B seem to be spaced further apart, so you're not quite as on top of your neighbor as you are in Loop A. Very shaded, lots of tall ponderosa pines, and just a very, very pretty loop. Lots of nature, very secluded, just very comfortable. We really enjoyed our stay in Space 71. They do have pull-through and back-in sites here, and they have some of those sites that are just pull-over along the side of the main road, where you just pull over and camp there. All the sites had picnic tables and fire rings. No hookups in Loop B, no electric, no water, no sewer. So you have to be sure to have a power source and fill up your tanks before you come back to your campsite. There's our pod right there in Space 71. I really think that was a wonderful premium space right there. We're going to drive up the east side of the loop now, and we're going to pass the group areas. On the left is the small group area, and on the right is the large group area. After that, we're going to come to space 74 on the left and 85 on the right. There are, again, vault toilets spaced throughout Loop B. I think there are, let's see, probably about 5 vault toilets throughout Loop B. We did find space 91 and 93 to be very large pull-throughs on the outer loop. So that would definitely be another possibility for us because they were such a good size. You had plenty of room in your camp, and being on the outer loop, your campsite was to the forest. So a very private space, 91 and 93. Might try for those next time if 71 is booked. There's one of the little vault toilets right there in the video. But they are definitely spaced throughout. Here's one of the pullovers on Loop B. So they did get a fairly large RV with a slide out in the pullover. And here's another camper in a pullover site. So the pullovers are a pretty good size. But just for comfort, I would prefer either back in or pull through. Here's one of the big pull-throughs right here. I think that might have been 91 or 93, but you can see how spacious they are. I don't know about the possibility of having 2 campers in that space. Like if you went with a friend, that might be a possibility. You'd have to check. I know they do charge for extra vehicles, but I don't know about actually 2 campers sharing that one space. But all in all, it was a very pleasant stay at Canyon Point Campground, and I do look forward to returning. Well, thanks for watching our adventure at Canyon Point Campground, Willow Springs Lake, and the Rim Lake's Vista Viewpoint. It was a beautiful time. Hope you can someday experience these places as well. And remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, leave that place better than the way you found it. See you in our next adventure. Bye for now.